When faced with an existential threat, the default reaction of human beings throughout history has been to unite and pull together. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the nation rallied almost as one. Sure, there were outliers who shunned the vaccination, were ambushed by cake, or who held parties that weren't parties at number 10 Downing Street. Nonetheless, we came together to fight an invisible foe. We came together during the Second World War too. While men of a fighting age were off facing down the enemy, those who stayed at home were a part of the fight too. From the land girls keeping up food production, to the factory workers making arms, to those serving in the Home Guard, all were fighting for the common good. The National Federation of Demolition Contractors' very foundation is built upon a possibly apocryphal tale in which Winston Churchill himself called upon London's demolition contractors to unite as one to make safe the buildings damaged during the Blitz. As I said at the outset, existential threat, we all pull together. At least that's how things have traditionally worked. Today, we find ourselves facing perhaps the greatest threat our world has ever seen: climate change. Once again, there are outliers who point to a cold summer day as evidence that climate change is, hot air. But most right-minded people, those who believe the Earth is round, that Elvis is dead, and that we're not all controlled by Bill Gates and his 5G masks, we all believe that global warming is bad, very bad, that it's getting worse, and that we need to do something about it. But here's where our reaction has differed. Rather than uniting to fight this common enemy, we all seem to be huddled in little silos, each of us doing a little bit, but none of us actually making any notable impact. And nowhere is this more evident than in the field of demolition and construction. There's a little silo of people who believe that demolition should be outlawed and that refit and refurbishment will save us all. There's another silo that believes that the demolition industry's ability to reclaim secondary materials makes it an environmental warrior in its own right. Some think we should abandon diesel and petrol equipment and vehicles. Others point to the environmental and financial cost of switching to unwieldy electric and unproven hydrogen power. As an industry, we're all facing the same global threat, but we're all heading off in different directions and often opposing directions as well. The result is that climate change remains, while real solutions remain just out of reach. The irony here is that this goes against just about everything that the demolition and construction industry stands for. Ours is a sector that stands or falls upon its ability to collaborate, from joint venture organisations forged to deliver massive infrastructure projects to specialist contractors pooling their resources to deliver a building, a bridge, a road. Yet when it comes to fighting climate change, it seems to be every man for himself. Sadly, and predictably, I fear the main reason for this is money. Clients and main contractors will not consider adopting a new approach or new methodology if it's likely to cost more time or more money. Companies are unwilling to invest in electric machines because they require charging time, and while a machine is on charge, it's not earning. They're focused on the now and on their share price today, not tomorrow, and they will likely remain so even when the water is lapping around the door of their palatial head office. Yet it could all be so very different. If individual companies, individual disciplines, and individual industry sectors could, just for a moment, set aside their burning desire for competitive advantage, we're smart enough to see off this existential threat. Amidst the dog-eat-dog world of demolition and construction, there resides some incredibly smart and incredibly practical people. People who are smart enough to steer us away from the environmental precipice. Smart enough to devise systems and solutions that walk the tightrope between a blanket ban on demolition and the desire to preserve embodied carbon. But those people, smart as they are, can't fight this foe alone, nor can they fight it on numerous conflicting fronts. So surely this is the time for hands across the water, for unity, for coming together for a common cause. The threat posed by climate change is every bit as bad as that posed by the Luftwaffe, by AIDS, by COVID-19. Each of those was defeated, partially or completely, through unity and collaboration. We desperately need that unity again. The path forward doesn't actually require grandiose declarations or unattainable ideals. It requires practical steps, open communication, and a willingness to collaborate beyond traditional boundaries. Small, concerted efforts made collectively can lead to significant change. We need to tap into the ingenuity and resilience that have defined our industry and use it to carve out a sustainable future. Individually, we're lost, but together, we could find a way.